you're going live. Alrighty. Good morning, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Randomizer fans, and welcome to the Tristram telecast of Game 3 of Caleb vs. DemonRHK here in the round of 16 for the Speed Gaming Line tournament. And with the boilerplate out of the way, this should be a fun one. We had in Game 2, I believe our restreamer this morning, Adam, described it as 6 minutes of sync so perfect he was afraid that he had, in fact, mirrored one person's stream over the others. But no, these two are just that similar in skill. If their seeding doesn't tip anyone off, Caleb is 8th seed and DemonRHK is 9th seed coming out of our qualifiers. Not that it matters because, well, they're evenly matched in brackets too. So this Game 3 could very well come down to the wire because these two are going to possibly make a lot of similar decisions and do so with a similar quickness. But we'll see what happens. I know that Caleb has taken to making the Pazuzu gamble fairly often. And DemonRHK, at least in the last game, did not. So we'll see how this goes from here. If this is your first time watching a Final Fantasy Mystic Quest randomizer race, which I'm not sure how you got here, but okay. A few things to know. The starting weapon is shuffled. It can be any of the base tier items, so bombs, the cat claw, the steel sword, or the axe. We are using red box shuffle, we're using key item shuffle. So key items will be in the red boxes, at NPCs, in battlefields, specifically the vanilla battlefields from the original game that had items, and behind certain bosses. We do have the contents of brown boxes shuffled, but brown boxes are not included in the key item randomization. In order to acquire the second tier companions from the later part of the game, you first have to recruit their original form and take that person to a location where they give you an item. For Tristram, that's the bomb door halfway through Bone Dungeon. For Phoebe, that's going to be the Cat Claw Fall in Wintry Cave. For Ruben, that's going to be the cliff where you look at his dad. And for Kaylee, that is going to be giving her the elixir. Additionally, you have to have the tree wither to get Kaylee to join you in the first place. So, with all that being said, we are... And right off the bat, we see a slime blocking the boulder, and both runners opt to skip the slime in level forest for the moment, possibly going to go grab Tristram and then go back. The cat claw, while it is, a weapon you acquire in Aquaria, is still not a great weapon, so I don't blame either runner for saying, I'm going to at least go get some help for this fight. But it looks like Caleb did just want to grab Tristram to go back for picking a fight. Demon, on the other hand, has opted to go ahead and do the battlefield to the west of Sand Temple. In the vanilla game, I believe this holds either one of the helmets or a charm. I do not remember. So, what we are looking at here is going to be... Alright. Caleb is going to pick up the Mega Grenades. Okay, so we are already in good shape. So, again, to kind of clarify a few things, in this randomizer, it's more or less a gated open world situation. So, like in vanilla, in order to access the 4 corners of the world, you need the 3 coins, the sand coin, the river coin, and the sun coin. Beyond that, there are very few restrictions on where you can go. The one area that is somewhat limited is the final dungeon, Doom Castle. To access Doom Castle, you are going to need a laundry list. You need the Thunder Rock in order to get over to Spencer's place. the Mobius crest in order to teleport to Mac's ship. You need the Captain's Cap in order to get Mac to let you borrow his ship. You need the Sun Coin to access Windia in logic at all. You need the Sky Coin to actually get into Doom Castle. And you need a sword to open a switch on the ice floor of Doom Castle. You need the Dragon Claw to grab various hook points within Doom Castle. And you need the Mega Grenades to actually get the water to go out of Spencer's place to move Mac's ship into position. It's a long list, like I said. But the point being, that is what these runners are looking for. So those Mega Grenades are going to be critical to progression. Unfortunately, it looks like both runners do remember to go ahead and do this check, not orphaning it. But speaking of the Sky Coin, so we already have 2 of our Go Mode items here within 3 minutes of starting the race. Alright, so that life spell is huge as well. That's going to enable Caleb to more or less have the ability to sort of put Benjamin on the back burner and be able to lean very heavily into his allies. And if we wind up in a position where things don't go as quickly as one would like, or not as quickly, smoothly. Say we don't find the endgame armor we're after because the seed continues to jet, we can actually take advantage of the fact that Benjamin has life now to sort of limp through the final fight with one of our companions, since the companions are... We have not randomized them yet. I believe that the community is still figuring out how to do that. We did also find an arrow spell here in the Bone Dungeon, and Caleb is going to go ahead and dump that onto everyone's favorite dinosaur, and that is going to be a quick kill. Arrow being the strongest of the black magic spells, very handy, especially here in this early game where, yeah, you could have probably also just thrown a Mega Grenade or 2, but you have the spell, you might as well use it, and you're going to get a full heal right here. But all that being said, let's go ahead and see what's in these boxes. It is good to see neither runner opted to fade these checks, but yeah, that's going to be an elixir and a moon helm, I believe, which should be the second tier there. All right. Good morning, Hebbings. Yeah, it is a solid start. Yeah, I mean, that's the bottom line. It's a solid start. We had to go back into level 4s to get the Mega Grenades because it turned out there was a slime directly in front of the old man, and neither runner wanted to take a cat claw into that fight without backup. All that being said, both runners have cleared out Bone Dungeon. I believe before the race, Caleb wished no crystal dungeons on them, and that wish has fallen through. But we have fairly solid equipment, at least a decent helmet and Mega Grenades, and we have access to Firebirds. So both of these runners probably about to go collect Reuben. And actually, we do have the ability to go ahead and clear the mines, so I will be surprised if either of them doesn't make that their first stop, unless we have a battlefield with, like, one fight in the Fireberg area. But for the moment, we're kind of on a linear path. Not really much room for diversions aside from, well, what we're doing here. For a moment, just need to answer a quick question from back in. Alright, sorry about that. But yeah, so Caleb going ahead and doing the first battlefield in the Fireberg area to get some cash, and that is a Giant's Axe. So we are in pretty good shape. Gonna go ahead and use this multi-key, find out what's down here. And that is our Aquaria access. So, go ahead and get Tracker caught up on what's going on. Alright, we're good. And that is a Libra crest. Excuse me. And joining me on the tracker, I believe we are going to see if we can get some help in here, just because I am already falling behind a little bit. But Hebbings has jumped in on the tracker to lend a hand, and it is much appreciated. In the meantime, though, Caleb is going to go ahead and check this battlefield right north of Focus Tower. With Ruben in the party, this should take no time. It looks like Demon is also going to go ahead and check this battlefield. Yeah, it looked like it was like 3 fights. So this is good for going ahead and getting some extra XP on Benjamin before diving into any of the dungeons. And I did not get to see what happened there because the stream stuttered at exactly the wrong moment. We'll see if we can catch on Demon's side. Yeah, that is the one problem if you haven't watched Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Randomizer before now. This goes fast. Yeah, this is definitely a blink if you miss it situation. So we'll see what crops up. But in the meantime, Caleb going ahead and clearing the other Firebird battlefield. But only after Ruben absolutely obliterates Benjamin. Confusion is nobody's favorite stats effect. But either way, I mean, it doesn't matter. Benjamin gets experience even if he's dead. So if he dies in a fight, it's not funny. He'll live. Well, okay, he won't live, but he'll be fine. You're not losing anything if he dies. Okay, so it was a charm. Cool stuff. So, charm out of that first item battlefield in Firebird, and Caleb, I believe, is about to show us what's in this one, and that is Thunder Rock. Go mode coming together very quickly here. I'll be surprised if we don't see... let's see, at this point we still need Mobius Crest and a Sword and a Dragon Claw and a Captain's Cap. Like, we're not quite there yet, but... that Blizzard spell might come in handy. You might throw a couple of those out. There are enemies who are going to be weak to Blizzard around, but in the meantime, Demon go ahead and finish out his money routing, it looks like. I believe this battlefield holds 1200 GP. So that's going to be a healthy amount of capital. Between that, well, okay, Demon didn't do the first battlefield, so this is probably his way of getting his money for the various merchant ladies. And yeah, Hebbings confirming in chat that it is 1200. I learned that from him. But right now, Caleb is into the Jin fight. Going ahead and packing some Mega Grenades. And a Reuben. This should not take too terribly long. Excuse me. So the bright side to this also is this is going to go ahead. We get 2 key item checks here. One from Ruben looking at his dad, and then another from you rescuing Ruben's dad. Actually, we get, yeah. So we have to go back to Firebird to talk to Ruben's dad, but that's fine because doing that check, like I said at the top of the show, unlocks the ability to recruit what we call Ruben 2. The Ruben that you get for max ship. Which we can go ahead and pick up because Tristram 2 is at the bar. So what you are almost certainly going to see here is Caleb is going to do what's behind Jin. We're going to go back to Firebird. We're going to grab Tristram 2 real quick. walk into Ruben's house, immediately swap back to Ruben, then talk to Ruben's dad, and depending on what we get out of all of that, that will dictate where we go from here. Alright, we get some bombs that we are immediately going to replace. So, again, if this is your first time watching the Mystic Quest Randomizer somehow, one thing to note, when you pick up the weaker form of a weapon you already have, it will temporarily show on your screen, but all you have to do is swap weapons and the game will re-upgrade you to the highest tier weapon you have. But anyway, Demon does go ahead and get that Thunder Rock. Caleb, gonna go ahead and do the 1200 GP Battlefield. I suspect this is to go ahead and have money for buying seeds when he gets to a merchant that sells them. Seeds being incredibly useful in this randomizer for keeping your party alive, especially if you get a particularly rude dungeon that has a lot of encounters forced on you. Even with 50% item placement, enemy placement, and random enemy positions, there are a lot of dungeons that are basically one tile-wide corridors in a lot of places. So it is very easy to wind up in a war of attrition scenario. But, like I said, Caleb gonna go ahead, go get Tristram 2 so that he can swap out to Ruben 2. And yeah, there's his seeds. So he's saved just enough money to be able to purchase items from the merchants in Aquaria and Windia. So we'll get around to what those are. But for the moment, yeah, there is Ruben 2. Ruben 2, mostly the same. Big difference is he comes with a free white spell, which is very convenient. So at the moment, I'd say that Caleb has the advantage in terms of nothing else like the rate of exploration. And yeah, that Aegis off of Ruben's dad is huge. Aegis grants petrification resistance to Benjamin. We also found a steel helm, but we already had a moon helm, so who cares? But yeah, Aegis grants petrification protection to Benjamin. And again, if you've never seen this randomizer before, one thing that is very different from vanilla, in the vanilla game there is a very famous glitch, which you've probably heard of, where if you cast Cure on the final boss, it basically underflows his HP, and you do a ridiculous amount of damage and basically make the fight a breeze. That glitch is fixed. So you actually have to legitimately fight Dark King. And it turns out Dark King's not an easy boss fight. It turns out that when you do 30,000 damage to a guy, you miss out on all of the horrible, evil mechanics he uses. So, one of the big things with the Dark King fight is he has the ability to cast Petrification's abilities. The strongest possible companion, Phoebe 2, does not come with petrification resistance. So, if you don't have an Aegis shield, it is very possible to wind up in a position where you get basically double, where's I'm looking for here? Basically double petrified. Basically the Dark King petrifies one character on one turn, and acts for the other one to petrify them as well. That Tree Wither, though, that we just picked up on Caleb's side from the top of Volcano, that is something to keep in our back pocket. So, Kaylee 2 does have Petrify resistance. We're probably not going to see that in this seed because we already have access to Phoebe 2, Phoebe 1, and we're almost certainly going to get Phoebe 2. And we have an Aegis shield already. But the important thing to keep in mind with that, though, is it's on the table. And also, Kaylee does represent 2 checks that are fairly quick to grab once you have Windy access. Because Kaylee 1 gives you an item when she gets poisoned after the boss fight. Kaylee 2 gives you an item when you move her from the party in Windia, and go talk to her on the top floor of the inn. But Caleb, going to go ahead and dive into Lava Dome. Going to just go ahead and finish out all these checks in the Firebird area. That way, the only reason to come back here... I can't think of a good one. The only reason I can think of to come back here is if for some reason you need something stronger than, say, Phoebe 1 without having access to the Windia Inn, and I do not believe that that's going to happen. But we have access to the Windia Inn now, so who cares? That is a Sun Coin out of this box. And I think Caleb is going to go ahead and full clear the Lava Dome since he's already here. That looks like that's exactly what he's doing. But I can definitely see a universe where a runner sees that Sand Coin and goes, or Sun Coin and goes, you know what? I can be literally anywhere other than Lava Dome, so I'm going to go literally anywhere other than Lava Dome. Another thing that I failed to mention, Caleb was here, but Demon is showing us now. We are using what we call standard logic for item placement. Standard logic dictates that you can have a in logic volcano or lava dome, or no, not lava dome, volcano, or ice pyramid, or captain's ship without access to respectively mask, the magic mirror, or the captain's cap. Those items can be in the dungeon, and the dungeon is still in logic. So there is also friendly logic, which imposes that restriction. If if you're watching this and haven't tried the randomizer out, that's something to be mindful of. You do have the ability to go, hey, you know what? I don't want to have to do Ice Pyramid blind. You can set to friendly logic. Friendly logic will say, okay, you do not have to do Ice Pyramid until you have a mirror in hand. And the same goes for the mask and volcano and so on. So, with all that being said, let's see where Demon goes. So, Demon does have access to the Aquaria area. And Lava Dome is not a popular dungeon. It's long, the checks are spread out, it's a maze. So, it's a dungeon a lot of runners don't like to do. But continuing this policy of both of these people thinking the exact same way, we are going to go do Lava Dome. He may change his tune once he does have that Sun Coin in hand, but for the time being, we are looking at these runners kind of going the same general route. So that makes things a little bit difficult to talk about, but I'll figure something out. So, alright. We're about 20 minutes in. I guess I can go ahead and take the opportunity to kind of review what we do and don't know. So, at this point we have the Thunder Rock. We have Mega Grenades. We have no Sword, no Dragon Claw, but we do have the Sun Coin and the Sky Coin. So, what we are looking for is a Sword, the Dragon Claw, and the Captain's Cap and a Mobius Crest. So we're still a decent chunk of the way from Go Mode. Not an unbelievable distance from Go Mode, if that makes sense. So Demon does have that Sun Coin, so he thought about it. He definitely thought about it, but he is also going to follow the I am already here, I am not going to come back here, and if I fade this and it turns out to be required, I'm going to lose the race on the weight of having faded it. So, both these runners making the conservative play and saying, I'm not going to leave Lava Dome in my back pocket. So, where we will likely start to see some divergence is after this. I mean, I could definitely see both runners deciding to go ahead and go to Aquaria, pick up Phoebe 1 and go ahead and get Phoebe 2. But Ruben 2 is good enough to finish the game, honestly, but definitely good enough to go ahead and to say, you know what, I'm going to go into Windia. I'm going to assume at least my Mobius crest is there. And if, you know, I can fade Phoebe 2 for later, or, you know, do all of Aquaria in one shot. Let's say I go to Windia, I find my wake water, I can go to Aquaria, do every check in Aquaria without needing to backtrack. You know, Ruben 2 is good enough to make that call, to make that play, to say, I'm going to hold off on Windia until I can do everything in Windia. But, for the moment, we're kind of seeing what I was talking about before. With that life spell in hand, Benjamin is a very useful healer, even if you are mostly relying on your ally to do all of the damage. So, we should be coming up on the end of this boss fight. Yep, there we are. So, this is the last check in Lava Dome. We're going to see if it's worth it. So, one other thing to keep in mind if you are watching this and haven't raced this before, if this is nothing, both of these runners are going to feel a little bit behind. Because they're racing this blind to what the other is doing. They don't know. They're on a 15-minute delay, first of all. Like, this all happened like a quarter of an hour ago. So neither of them know what the other one's doing, nor can they know, and that was totally worth. That is an Excalibur, that is our sword, and another piece of our logical access to the endgame is found. So, if that hadn't been a sword, though, if, say, that had been, like, the fire or the quake spell, what I was getting at there was who these runners would have felt horribly behind. Because in a situation like this, when you're racing a game like this, you do have to assume when you make a bad choice or a choice that doesn't work out, that your opponent did something clever. And there's our Dragon Claw. So, just like that, we are done with weapon checks. And that is going to leave us with needing the Mobius crest and the Captain's Cap for Go Mode. And Caleb making... I've seen this before. Caleb likes making this Kaylee check. It's one of those things where he... Yeah, it's one of those things. I noticed that Caleb especially likes to just go ahead and take care of Kaylee when he, you know, is going through Focus Tower. And it's a very useful thing. Because like I said, Kaylee gates 2 items. One she's going to give after we kill this boss, which shouldn't take very long. Yeah, there we go. I don't even remember how much health this Minotaur has, but the answer is not very much. Alright, Thunder Spell. Not very useful, but it does unlock Kaylee too. So, Caleb going to go ahead, use this elixir we picked up immediately, and get Kaylee too. And we're probably going to see him immediately swap her out for Phoebe 1, so that Kaylee 2 is available with when we get to Windia. That was the sentence I started and didn't finish. So Hebbings in chat pointing out, saying that the Minotaur there probably has around 550 HP, possibly less. Quote, I've never not killed him with Megas. So, alright. Ooh, I forgot they had the Libra Crest. So Caleb going to go ahead, talk to the old man in the Wakewater Shrine, get the Quake spell. I mean, I guess we have full black magic now? That's something. Alright. But we do go ahead and grab Phoebe 1, so Kaylee 2 will be available when we get over to Windia. But at this point, Caleb's got enough power to where he may go ahead and do most of Windia now. Normally, you know, Phoebe 1's the one carrying you through Windia, and that looked like Wakewater. Yeah, that is Wakewater. Alright. So yeah, Caleb possibly going to go ahead and just do all of Aquaria now. We've got enough power to do it, and we can literally do every check in Aquaria now. And that is a Venus shield. Caleb possibly forgetting he already had Aegis, but also having already money routed to be able to make all those purchases without thinking, possibly just going the route of, I can already do this, so I'm doing it. And starts to head down to Spencer's and remembers he doesn't have a Venus key. So it's one of those things, you can get Spencer's items from either entrance, either the one under his house here in Aquaria, or the one on the map in the Windia region. And the one on the map in the Windia region is so much faster. Like, the only reason to do it that way that Caleb was walking is if you do not have access to Windia yet. And Spencer, you know, at that point, probably locking your Windia access. But for the time being, we are going to go ahead and clear up Wintry Cave. We did get the item from Phoebe, so Phoebe 2 is now available in Windia. Once we, you know, get down there, tag her out for Kaylee 2, and then tag Phoebe 2 back in. But in the meantime, Demon finished out Lava Dome. I guess I should jump back over to see what he's been up to. So, Demon finished out Lava Dome, did the same thing Caleb did. Went ahead, went and collected Kaylee 1, did his whole trek there, got Kaylee 2, and is probably going to follow a similar course to Caleb here. So, that's not great for Demon, because, as you've noticed, he's doing things after Caleb did them. Which, in a racing context, tends to not be what you want to do. Unfortunately, he doesn't know that he needs to force divergence. Again, this is a feed from 15 minutes ago. So Demon has no way of knowing, and generally, you're also not supposed to look at your opponent's screen in a randomizer race. Hold on. Hold on! That actually is a little bit of a bold play. So Demon is opting to keep Kaylee 2. I don't necessarily hate this. Arguably, he can take the route of just fading Wintry Cave until he's done everything else in Aquarium. Because you don't need Phoebe for any of these checks. He could go the route of fading that Wintry Cave check, take Kaylee 2, and do everything else. So, the Ice Pyramid, the Falls Basin, the battlefield north of Libra Shrine. And then swing in to grab Phoebe 1, do the 2 checks in Wintry Cave, and then bail. Because Kaylee 2 is going to get through these fights faster than Phoebe 1. This could get him back in it. If he continues to fade Phoebe 1 until he's done everything else he possibly can do, this might be what catches him back up to Caleb. We'll have to see. But Demon, remembering he doesn't have the Venus key, he just has the multi-key. But that's a Mobius crest on Demon's side. So here's the other possibility. If our captain's cap is in one of these 2 remaining checks, like, there are 5 checks remaining that we haven't seen here in Aquaria yet. Here in Falls Basin, the crab, the the checks in the place called the Ice Pyramid. There are 4 checks in Ice Pyramid, 1 check here. If any of these are the captain's hat, Demon's in go mode. And Caleb is not, because Caleb is going to save that chest that has the Mobius crest in it for his very last stop here in Aquaria. If I'm any judge. And that was super fast. Heavings, I hope you caught it. Alright, so it's the mirror. Alright, well, that's convenient. Alright. So, if you are pulling for Caleb right now, you are hoping that there is not any hats to be found anywhere in this Ice Pyramid. Because right now what Caleb needs is for Captain's Cap to be in Windia. Because if it's not in Windia, if it's here, that's go mode for Demon. But if it is in Windia, that's better for Caleb. So, yeah, I mean, that's the bottom line. But Demon still has a couple of other speed advantages. Namely, he's gonna be able to, like... Sorry, I'm just thinking here. We could also see Demon make... Okay. Demon's 1 item from go mode, and he knows he's 1 item from go mode. There is a universe where he decides, you know what, I'm going to do the Phoebe 1, the first check in Wintry Cave, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna leave. Just hike over the map real quick, back to Fireburg, hop in the Mobius portal to go to Windia, do those 2 checks, and go do like the 2 checks I can do in Spencer's place, and go from there. But we'll see. We'll see. But Demon definitely can claw back most of the time. Like, right now he and Caleb are neck and neck going through Ice Pyramid. But Demon is going to lose time if he goes and does all of Wintry Cave like Caleb. So, if you want this close, your hope right now, and if you're Demon, your hope right now is you fade Wintry Cave. You do the first check so you have Phoebe 2, and then you just bail. The thing is, though, is I don't know if Demon feels particularly behind. Because he stopped and did a couple battlefields that Caleb skipped. And that's right now the difference maker. But we'll see how this shakes out. But Demon is our first runner. And there's the Gemini crest. So yeah, that is going to speed things up dramatically in terms of getting around this map. So Demon does have the option now of just literally going back to Aquaria, hopping into the Gemini crest portal, going to Fireburg, going to Windia, going from there. So even if he does Wintry Cave, he'll pick up a little time on the back end, potentially. But anyway, we are up to the Ice Golem here on DemonRHK's side. And this should go very quickly. Yeah, we have the white spell. This maybe lasts 2 rounds. Alright, yeah, it's gonna go 2 rounds. That's fine. Okay, it's going to go 3 rounds because we needed to heal our MP. I think Caleb healed up before going into the fight. But regardless, we are going to see this this go very quickly on both sides. Like, this is not a threat. And the fact that Demon had that Kaylee too, I didn't even point this out. There are a handful of fights where Caleb took a lot longer to get through it because he's leaning on Phoebe 1, where Demon just Kaylee 2'd his way through it. Also, we see the double water crystal. I believe it has been confirmed that that glitch is likely the result of using wake water. Basically, the way the game entangles events, using the wake water and the water crystal being visible are essentially the same flag. So that Venus key, that's actually big for Demon, because those are 2 more checks that aren't going all the way through Wintry Cave. Like, I can definitely see a universe where he says, I'm going to do Phoebe 1 check so I have Phoebe 2, and I'm going to go do all of these other checks, and if my cap was in Wintry Cave, my cap was in Wintry Cave. And we know the cap wasn't in Wintry Cave, so I believe it was Noble Armor at Wintry Cave. So we'll see how this shakes out. So there is our Phoebe for Demon. So he's immediately going to go check the vanilla Venus key check. And for folks who aren't familiar with the randomizer, who are somehow watching this, the Venus key also now opens a chest that sits next to Spencer, Phoebe's grandfather, basically replacing the check where Tristram gives you the Dragon Claw. Since we don't have any of the cutscenes that force party members in and out of your party anymore, that key item had to be given to you somehow. I don't know if I agree with Demon doing this approach into Spencer's place, especially without an exit. But it's not the end of the world. He'll lose a little bit of time here, unless one of these 2 is the exit spell. And it was nothing. Alright. That's fine. But Caleb gets his Mobius Crest, and we now know our Captain's Cap is somewhere in the Windia region. So here's where the gambling comes into play. 3 of the checks in Windia are 1 item. The giant tree has 1 item. The ship has 1 item, and Mount Gale has 1 item. Pazuzu's has 3 items, but one of those items requires you to actually fight Pazuzu. Alright, yeah, so Demon is going to go ahead and do Wintry Cave. The conservative play, which, while understandable, suggests he is not feeling like he might be behind. Which, no reason for him to feel behind, but we know this is going to be a problem. So, for Demon to kind of get back in this, what he needs is to make a different call than Caleb when he gets to Windia. And Caleb, in turn, needs to make a call that wastes time. So, there we go. We talk to Kaylee 2, get a claw we don't need for our trouble, and pick up Phoebe 2. So, what was I saying? Right. Just realized that our tracker had to step away for a minute, and I forgot to mark the Mobius crest that Caleb picked up. So, at this point, Caleb's going to go ahead, grab the Mobius crest check, and then he's going to need to make a decision. A live forest and giant tree, Pazuzu's tower, or Mount Gale. Or Captain Mac's ship. That is also on the possibility list. But yeah, see, that's what I was saying about what Demon did before. It's much faster to go to Spencer. So Caleb is opting to go check a live forest, at least. So there are 2 checks in a live forest. There's this red chest out here, and then there is a red chest locked behind the boss in the tree. What we may see is Caleb check this box and then leave. Excuse me, and that's exactly what he's doing. So, Caleb opting to basically check all of the fast boxes first is what it's looking to me like. More or less just going in, clearing out the easy early checks. That way, if the captain's cap is in one of these locations, he's not going to lose by overcommitting to a play. If, however, it's in one of these deeper locations, if, say, it is behind Pazuzu or behind Ghidra, and Demon commits to one of those plays first, that will even things right back up. So if you're Caleb, you're at this point banking on the cap is somewhere that doesn't require me to clear out a dungeon. And if you're Demon, you don't know it, but you're sitting here going, I really, really, really need this cap to be at the end of a dungeon, and you also need to be going, I'm going to just clean out a dungeon. So, with all that being said, Caleb is going to go ahead and pull Dullahan. This should not take very long. I believe we also saw him stop and pick up a level or two. He did a one-fight battlefield, and I think had to do one fight here on Mount Gale, and that was enough to take him from 16 to 18. Level 18, just as an aside, is kind of the, what I would consider to be kind of the minimum safe level for going into endgame. So, the reason I say that is, you need Benjamin to have enough speed and health to where you're either outpacing Dark, where you can both, to where you're not always getting maneuvered in the fights at the end of the game, and you need enough health to where he can survive one hit from Dark King. So 18 is kind of the threshold where we start seeing enough of that, and will gain enough experience in the remaining levels. Like, you'll gain enough experience going through Doom Castle from level 18 to be in generally good position, especially with these flags. So, Caleb does rescue Norma, and is at least going to do the first check in Pazuzu's tower. So at this point, he has no choice but to clean out dungeons. So the question for us now is Caleb going to full clear the tower? That's going to be the decisive factor here. If Caleb says, all right, I need to start actually emptying dungeons, and opts to start with the one he's already in, that could be huge. If he says, all right, I'm going to do these two checks, and I'm going to peace out because I'm not hunting the jerkbird today, that could also be huge. But we'll see. So Demon is going to go ahead and do Mount Gale. And we'll see where he goes from. Never mind! That is go mode. Without the exit spell. So Caleb's going to have to walk out of the tower. But, alright. So this changes up the equation completely. So Demon at this point needs to make the Pazuzu's tower play. To get back in this. If Demon goes to Pazuzu immediately after this, that could even this right back up. Well, not even, but it could make this a game of a couple of minutes difference. And Doom Castle can make up that couple of minutes difference. As I mentioned previously, Dark King is not an easy fight. It is a battle that you are very likely to get into trouble doing. So, yeah. So if Demon goes to Pazuzu's tower immediately, this could very quickly turn into a close race. If he doesn't, he's going to need some help from Dark King, like a lot of help from Dark King. But we're going to see how this goes. Demon's going to be heading back out of Mount Gale here in a moment, and we'll see what dungeon he heads to from here. Caleb is just about to Captain Mac. We have a friendly Mac ship today. And Demon, it looks like, is going to at least do that. And it looked like we got the exit spell out of Captain Mac's ship, so a little later than Caleb would have wanted it, and basically as late as it could be useful, but whatever. You still got 2 uses out of it, so you take what you can get. And Demon is going to do the tree, so Caleb is going to have a little bit of a cushion here. But, again, that does not, by any stretch of the imagination, mean this race is over. So, let's talk about Dark King. Oh yeah, I guess that's going to see a little bit more use, because we're going to use it here on Skullrus Rex and on the Stone Golem on the next floor. So, you know what, 4 uses of exit, you can't complain. But, I think Caleb opted for life. But anyway. So, alright. We're in the end game now, so let's talk a little bit about what can go wrong. Because let's face it, no one is entertained by things going right in these races. So, by and large, these first 2 fights won't be too bad. There are several ways to instant kill Skullrus Rex, and you can use exit on the Stone Golem to the same effect. The big thing for Caleb... I think I just saw it. Demon implement... just jumping over there real quick. Implement what... I believe... Hebbings, you might have been the one who told us about this. You can just hold the grapple button and right, and just go straight across that part right there. A little bit of easy tech for you tech heads this morning. But anyway, jump back to what I was saying. So, we will potentially see some difficulty out of Z. I don't believe the fire floor has ever given anyone any trouble, ever. Like, I seriously cannot recall seeing a race where, like, the fire floor was actually a problem. But Z can definitely cause some difficulties. Especially because of the existence of these Severuses on basically every floor. Like that! Okay, I was about to bring that up and Caleb provided an object example. So like I mentioned back at the beginning of this, Phoebe is not immune to petrify. And there are a lot of things in this dungeon that petrify. And holy cow, Stone Golem decided to come to play today. Holy crap. And yeah, Headbanks, I think you're right. There are enemy attacks that are based on enemy HP. Like, so that's part of the reason for the folks wondering, like, you know, a lot of RPG randomizers, you know, they'll scale enemies up like twice as high or 150% or whatever. The most that these flags go to is 125, and that's because one of the damage formulas that Mystic Quest uses for attacks uses HP as part of how to scale the attack. So these can get out of control very quickly. As you just saw, that Stone Golem decided to demonstrate, like, that it can do some damage. And again, that's kind of getting to what I was saying before. Benjamin at these levels is not fast. If an enemy rolls up on speed, it can pose a difficulty. and especially if Dark King does it. But everyone's favorite twin-head wyvern is already getting taught the business. And we did see a magic ring from Ghidra, which is an extra kick in the butt for Demon because he already had the better accessory from Mountain Gale. So we'll see where he goes from here. He is definitely wanting to go to Pazuzu. And I think even if he does Captain Mac's ship first, that exit spell will save almost no time going through Pazuzu's tower. But he is going to Captain Mac's ship. So this, I believe, actually did come up in Game 2, where DemonRHK didn't do faded Pazuzu's tower and wound up winning. But as we see here tonight, that can be a problem if your end-game access is Pazuzu. But he's gonna get this exit spell, so this may wind up being a break-even, because like the time it would take him to walk out of Pazuzu may be roughly equal to the time it takes to walk to and through Mac's ship. So, but yeah, he's gonna have to come back to Mac and talk to him with the cap. So, never mind. That is just a straight up time loss. Was it Game 1, Hebbings? Well, no, I thought Caleb won Game 1. I thought it was, well, in either case, Demon, in a hurry, doesn't even stop to save Norma. It's fine. She'll eventually figure out that nothing's actually stopping her from just leaving the tower. You know, if that guy who ran through could get here, she can get out. Okay, thank you, ADR. So it was Demon who won Game 1, and Caleb won Game 2. But either way, point being, Pazuzu's tower has proven pivotal in previous matches in this series. And it's pivotal tonight. So Caleb through Zut, looked like that was not a difficult one, and we are on to Dark King. So, like I said at the very beginning, cannot use the cure glitch in this randomizer. We have to legitimately defeat Dark King, and Dark King is as subject to scaling as anything else. So, I'm gonna quiet up for a minute, and we'll see you in Phase 2. A few more seconds, because let's just face it, this is one of the best final battle themes in the SNES library. And that was a fairly beefy Phase 2, or Phase 1. That took like 3 shots. So we'll see how bulky this Dark King fight is. Okay, Phase 2 was not nearly as bulky, but so yeah, there are 4 phases to Dark King. The first 2 phases look like a dude, and Phase 3 he just goes full it with it. So we'll see how things go from this point forward, because we've seen some very thin phases 1 through 3, and then Phase 4 was a nightmare. And the other thing to take into account, Benjamin is kind of getting his face kicked in, and yeah, that was a fast Phase 3. We may be seeing a quick dot done here momentarily. Well, alright. Caleb is going to have to keep Benjamin alive in order to be done with this. So this could be over real quick, or it could take a while, especially with Phoebe getting confused and electrocuting herself. But thankfully for Caleb, he did have that life on tap is able to get Phoebe up. Benjamin survives long enough to get Phoebe up. So I'm going to go ahead and start throwing magic at Dark King, hoping for phase 4 to go down as quick as the other phases. Dark King thankfully shoots at Phoebe rather than Benjamin. That gives Caleb a chance to get some extra damage in. He's going to go ahead and throw that cure out on Phoebe. Phoebe can full heal the party from with just a like cure spell. So Phoebe's cure all is a good way to kind of clean everything up. But Phoebe again taking a nap, but it doesn't matter. Dark King is going to take a much longer nap. And that is going to be GG for Caleb. With an official racetime.gg time of 57 minutes and 17 seconds. So get those GGs in chat, and let me see if he is in a position to chat with us for a moment. I don't think we are doing that because this is a Tristram thing. So yeah, Caleb, if you want to say, if you're in chat and want to say a few things, feel free. I mean, I guess if you can jump in here, you're welcome to as well. But GG's nonetheless. But Demon, meanwhile, has gone, collected the cap, and is up to the Stone Golem. It is about to find out the news that Stone Golem is extremely violent. But does lead off with it look like a Quake spell, so that's very nice for Demon. And yeah, he didn't get the business from Stone Golem today. But yeah, so we know the next two floors are fairly pleasant for Demon. So we can kind of take a moment to breathe. And we do have Caleb down in the general chat, but I just realized none of us have the ability to throw him in there. So while we are kind of doing things, I'll pull things. I'll see if I can get someone to get him in here so we can have a chat with him, because you know what? He's available. Let's have a talk. So, but otherwise, we may have to move. We may have to like wait until Demon finishes and move down to General. Yeah, I was about to say ADR. Just pointed that out on the backside. Because yeah, Demon's down in General now. So spoilers: Demon actually doesn't lose his seat and forfeit at the last possible second. I guess. But yeah, so what we can do is we can wait for Demon to finish and then move down to General. And yeah, thanks for letting them know, Hebbings. So, all right. So we'll talk to both runners after this concludes. But yeah, Demon already through the fire floor, just needs to run through here. This is a fairly friendly wind floor today. I think there was like one forced fight on the way to Za, maybe? But we'll yeah. And you know, if they can't if they can't stick around, I'll just type it into chat. So, but anyway, so yeah, Demon yeah, just navigating this little bit of a maze of floor. If you've not had to do this in like a race environment, I haven't, but I can tell this is just painful, even if you know the route, because it's just like you're having to take every fight on this floor that's in your way. Um, but yeah, Demon gonna go ahead, heal up, seat up, and we're gonna go ahead and fight the Jerk Bird. And I hear a Caleb
Oh.
get added in here, presumably by the admins. Yeah, it was by the admins.
Hey, good morning. Well,
Good morning. I'm letting Wildham know that we're also going to need Demon moved eventually. Okay, well, we're going to get Demon moved in here now. I've already spoiled that Demon finished the seed, so we're still waiting for you to finish on stream, Demon, but GG to both of you.
thank you. It's the beauty of the 15-minute delay.
Right.
Eventually, yeah. I mean, yeah, Demon's already through on screen, and we know that Dark King is not going to be much of a fight.
Yeah, this is one of the kindest Doom Towers I've seen with these flags, with the
I mean,
exception
aside
that
from Stone Golem,
with the exception of Stone Golem just headshotting Ben twice.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, I guess question the first, jumping back to kind of the beginning of the seed. Um, but yeah, so jumping back to the beginning of the seed then. Was there any temptation from either of you to fade the level forest check?
No. The early checks are so important. I knew I didn't want to fight that slime with just Ben and a claw. So I was just like, let me go get Tristram and then I'll come back. So as soon as I saw, I was just like, no, I'm gonna get that box, but I would have felt so bad if I had skipped it for however long I would have skipped it for, because it's such a. Like I said, those first like 5 checks in Forest always feel so important.
hmm
Yeah, so Damon, I'm guessing the same story on your end.
Yeah, that's why prior to the last couple of races, I would almost always not even bother going into level forest. I would go grab Tristram, do the battlefield, and come back. But I've started that. Okay, I'll check it. But this is one of those seeds where, of course, there's a monster in the way. So it's just like walk up 4 steps. Okay, we're leaving.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things like if either of you had, it would have led to some real interesting routing because those mega grenades, not having those would have meant, as soon as you saw that river coin out of the battlefield, it's just like, all right, I guess I'm going to go ahead and go to Fireberg.
Yeah,
Um,
I can't imagine a scenario where I skip that box. But yeah, it would have been interesting, and I would have felt so bad when I gone back and it's like, oh, it was mega grenades this whole time. Ugh.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, by and large, you two took almost the same route. And I think both of you had enough of a lead time to see on stream, and I think y'all were also talking about in the race, where sort of the the final break point was Caleb like opting to sort of do a bunch of skinny dives and then go into Pazuzu before clearing out tree or going to the ship. And Demon, you avoided Pazuzu's tower like the plague.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was one of the big ones. And I'm gonna be honest, Demon. I'm not entirely sure kind of when or how you fell behind Caleb.
I think it's just small execution. My movement, my movement is just still very, very dirty. I just take a lot of extra steps and bonk a lot of walls. Just little things like that will lose me a second here, a second there, and it will stack up. Plus, I think I took the money battlefield left of Fireberg, and I don't think I needed to because I took the one right outside of Focus Tower, and I think that one would have been enough, but I wasn't convinced it was going to be enough cash.
I,
I
I
believe.
I
Go
did
ahead.
both of them too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think the big difference at that point is I think Caleb, you waited until you had Ruben, possibly Ruben too, to kind of do some of those like money battlefields. And I think
Yeah.
I think you may have gone straight into it. So I think that was some of the time loss is just not being able to have Ruben punch things harder. Um, but
I think I did with Ruben 1, but yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, this seed I was applying lessons learned from our first 2 races of skipping and like fading checks and Fireberg, and I was like, no, I got the mega grenades, I got a claw, just gonna do it all, and we're just gonna get it over with. And I was like, all right. Then it just sort of worked itself out. I was like, all right, after this, I'll go get the Sun Coin box, and then I'll go get Kaylee, so I'll have her available in Windia, so I can flip to Phoebe 2 when I get there, because I'm going to go to Aquaria next. And then once again, like Ice Pyramid felt bad to do,
Oh.
but it did get me the Venus key, which got Flare and White. So yeah.
yeah. Demon, I mentioned this on stream, but it is worth repeating. I did like the play you made to bring Kaylee 2 through all of Aquaria before grabbing Phoebe 1 to do Wintry Cave. That
That
actually
was, yeah.
that made
That's
up a lot of time on Caleb because he had Phoebe 1 for all of Aquaria.
yeah.
Yeah, I had white, so I had AoE potential, and even without white, I had arrow and mega grenades, which should AoE down pretty much everything normal in Aquaria. And I just figure usually my routing goes on River Coin opens is Aquaria is the Ruben 2 show. I just figured I was going to flip ink for Kaylee anyway because I knew that was going to be my Phoebe unlock. I was going to flip get Phoebe 1, flip for Kaylee 2, then immediately flip back for Phoebe 2. And I'm like, hey, you know what? We never see Kaylee. Let's take Kaylee on an adventure for once.
It did make up a lot of time. You and Caleb, like you and Caleb basically got to Aquaria about the okay. Let me start this over. You were a few steps behind Caleb getting into Aquaria, but you made up a lot of time because you had that Kaylee 2. To clear out most of it. Like I think you were already going through Wintry Cave by the time Caleb finished up Ice Golem. So that helped a lot. And it is one of those things, the different route you took also could have come into play if Cap had landed in Ice Pyramid, you would have been in go mode first. Because Caleb waited to do Focus Tower until he did everything else. Whereas you opting to do Focus Tower first meant you had that knowledge of the Mobius Crest going into all of those Aquaria checks. So your routing, like where y'all's routing diverged, you both made good calls. I feel like, and yeah, it just kind of came down to Caleb was willing to go ahead and go, screw it, I'm going into Pazuzu, and Demon, you avoided Pazuzu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially without exit, I will avoid Pazuzu's. I've made it very, very plain every time I've spoken that I will always last location Pazuzu. So
Yeah, the
Um,
first 2 boxes are always they feel pretty free to me now that like enemies can't be on the stairwells. So without exit is kind of a bummer, but at least there is every floor has a way up and down. So
mhm.
it's not too bad to get out of there, but it doesn't feel great to go in there without exit.
uh, so I don't think there's anything else worth bringing up, and I think by and large, so both of you decided to just go ahead and do Lava Dome. Uh,
Hmm.
in spite of the fact that Lava Dome is awful, was that just sort of this is the I don't want to have to come back and do Lava Dome later kind of a play, or was it sort of um, you know, this is a high density hit density location, I might as well just go ahead and do it play?
If I had exit, I would have skipped the Wyvern fight and just gotten the boxes and come back and done it later. I would have gone down, opened the switch, and then exited out and left. But that way I could just come back to it But I figure if I was committing to walking down to get to that second box, I'm gonna walk down, open the switch. I'm not walking out to leave. I'll just walk out through the back door and just commit the extra 5 minutes and hope that it's got something. And I mean, it was a sword, which put Ice Pyramid in logic, and then because the other sword was in Ice Pyramid and the Knight Sword was on
On Spencer.
Spencer. Yeah, it's just like, ugh, I'm not. Which I guess is in logic, but I'm not walking to Spencer without exit unless I have the Venus key. So I wasn't gonna walk down and do the Spencer 1 check with. So I don't know.
All right. Demon.
Me, on the other hand, I am the very, very weird one in the community. Lava Dome is home. I love Lava Dome to death. Lava Dome is one of my favorite places, and here's why. If I'm going in there, I have Ruben 2 usually. That's my condition, as I need Phoebe 2 or Ruben 2. And
Yeah.
all the enemies in there are extremely high experience, and there's usually a good dozen or so fights, and there are 3 checks in there. So I walk into Lava Dome at 9, I walk out of Lava Dome at like 15. I am never unhappy with being able to do a full clear Lava Dome.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
try to get experience from if the 2 battlefields south of Windia have less than like 3 fights, I'll take one of those or both of them if they're both under 3 fights, because those are also really good chunky XP, and I can usually get 2 levels per battlefield, even in the end game. But if I'm strapped for levels, I usually take fights through Focus Tower or the Doom Tower. But yeah,
Yeah,
getting them early in Lava Dome's not a bad call either.
Yeah, we definitely saw. Yeah, we saw that on your side, Caleb, where you grabbed that battlefield and were like level 16, and by the time you were at Duelahan, you were level 18.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a case to be made for that. But yeah, no, I do like your reasoning, Demon, for doing Lava Dome. So just trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there is, so I guess we can kind of move on to final thoughts. So, Demon, this is unfortunately your graceful exit from the tournament, but I mean, how were your feelings on this seed, this matchup, these flags? Just your thoughts real quick.
I think that it was a fun matchup. I love going against Caleb. It's always a fun time, win, lose or draw. And I'm not super unhappy with having to wake up, slam 2 monsters first thing in the morning, and get a morning race out of the way. It was a nice change of pace. Um, I really like what Ham has done so far with the rando. I really like it, and while this was a very basic flag set because that's what we have, because it is a baby randomizer right now, we are just getting into the nitty gritty of what we can do with it. I think it's a great introduction to the randomizer, and to bringing some new faces, bringing some interest into the community, and I can't wait to see what kind of crazy stuff we come up with by the time our next tournament swings around.
All right. Caleb, meanwhile, you are still in this, and you are moving on to face Farfelu in the next
Mm,
round.
uh,
Okay, look.
uh,
Okay, I
oh,
like how on screen we even have it saying that you're
yeah.
facing
I
top
mean,
seed Farfelu.
we'll see.
I mean, all
uh,
right.
it's a rando gonna rando. Anything can happen. But Farfelo is super good at this game, and I hope to just be competitive and not get blown out by like 20 minutes in my matches against them. So we'll see.
Like you said, rando gonna rando,
Yeah.
and you're not slow. You're just impatient sometimes.
Yeah, that's the best. That's probably the best way to describe my play style with any randomizer. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
don't
it's one of
save
those.
and I'm just go like let's get this over with. I don't want to. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fair.
so it's one of those things. I'm just saying, you might be. I think you may be underselling. You're selling yourself a little bit short. Farfelo is definitely a strong opponent. I think anyone who's paid attention to these qualifiers is well aware of the fact that he is um, very, very good at this. But you're not half bad either. In fact, literally based on your seating, you are exactly half bad.
Hey, let's just hope he got rusty in the during the bye week for him.
I mean, that's always the hope of coming at someone who's had a bye, but either way, I'm looking forward to how those matches play out. I
Yeah,
fully expect you're going to do something interesting to try and make up the ground you think you need to make up. Um,
yeah.
I won't ask you to spoil that here because I want everyone to be
I,
surprised.
it's gonna be on the
And
fly if anything.
yeah, and also I fully expect you to have a plan yet, and I didn't want to put you on the spot,
Yeah,
but since you went ahead and did that for me, whatever. But
yeah.
yeah, so
No,
um,
it was a lot of fun racing against Demon. I appreciate taking on a morning race. It's not something that everybody likes to do, and it's just the easiest time for me to race usually. But it's always fun racing against the FFR folks and watching them migrate over here to Mystic Quest because Wildham has done a wonderful job with this, and it seems like there's some dev-minded people lingering in like the Discord. Like, so fun stuff's gonna happen. Who knows? Maybe this time next year we'll have full-on entrance shuffle, and we'll have maybe like shuffled companions. So like maybe it's Tristram hanging out in Foresta waiting for the tree wither instead of Kaylee, that kind of stuff.
yeah, I
But
mean, I know I personally am going to start digging around and figuring out like if it were possible to for the companions to gain levels, what level progressions look like, kind of a
yeah,
thing.
especially if they started sucking up your XP, and like your XP is now halved, and you actually have to take those battlefields to get that XP or take more fights in dungeons because if Phoebe's stealing half your XP in the Doom Tower,
Yeah, yeah.
be
We'll see
interesting.
how we'll see where things are going. It is still early days, and if someone's watching this VOD later and um, enjoyed it, it's probably still early days. Come join us. But
Absolutely.
with all that being said, shoutouts to Hebbinks for jumping in to help track this. Just because it is early morning and ADR had some work stuff come up that made it difficult for him and I to do the tracking. And obviously, thanks to ADR for performing this Tristram telecast, even if it does feel a little more official than a Tristram telecast potentially normally would be.
Yeah.
Um, and with all that being said, everyone have a good day. It's nice for to be like, hey, we got a whole day ahead of us.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, take care. You two take care. GG's again, and we'll catch everyone later. Take care, everyone.